Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Bass Bonsai back in the house. We were at the range. You won't see any of that footage in this video. This is recorded through my phone. Had the GoPro out. We went and shot none of these. Nothing with the red dot, unfortunately. But I went up to Frontier Justice. So be looking forward to that video. I managed to shoot. I didn't even know they had it in stock or up there yet. And I don't think they're even selling it. They just have one that they've got in to shoot at the range you can rent. But the Daniel Defense H9, the old Hudson H9 or whatever, they had that up there. And then, of course, I shot the CR 920p Elite from Shadow Systems. I also shot the, what did I shoot? Oh, I started out with the Staccato CS with the threaded barrel. The XC is in the shop. And then also I was going to shoot the Shadow Systems DR 920p, and something happened to it. It's also in the shop, right? So I did manage to go ahead and shoot. What did I shoot? I shot 4 different pistols. I was just up there. Started out with the Staccato. Saw they had the Daniel. And then, or the CR, then they saw they had the Daniel, then I shot the, the gun I kind of went up there to shoot. We shot the Spectre Comp. So be looking forward to those videos. And kind of got some pretty good footage. I'm going to try to put some slow-mo in there. And I may also try to add, when we were up there shooting our stuff, a couple different slow-mo. Now, I don't have great slow-mo, but it should be okay. But an update on this channel in today's video is about how low or high red dots when you get a slide cut. Because I saw it brought up in the PSA Dagger on a Facebook group that I guess at first I'd heard of it. Some people were complaining that the Dagger slides weren't cut deep enough or whatever. So we're going to talk about that. But if you're following a heads up on my last video, I had this slide on there, and it was like dead. Well, it was a battery, and I still don't know if it's a ghost, like, killing the battery, so I'm going to watch that. But all I did was I slapped another battery in it, and the light does work, in case you guys were wondering on that. And if you'd like me to put together a video talking about what I do and don't like, or what I think could be an upgraded deal on the Dagger, it's hard to upgrade something that's only $49 or $59 on the frames. Comment below on that. But there's a few things I would like to see them add, or at least make available for someone to buy if you wanted to kind of fine-tune your daggers. But the video today, I just want to show you guys and give you my opinion on slide cuts, which this one doesn't have. The for a long time, red dots have been ran above, now they call them, some guys still call them slide riders, where they, once they mounted them up, on the slide, but they've rode up high and down lower, whatever. So in all honesty, if, the lower the better to the center of the bore will kind of, and I've talked about that in a video before, will be your distances, like that little gap, like say you got a little yard window or less, to where it's like real accurate because of the angles. But in all honesty, especially with pistols, it's not a huge deal breaker if one's a millimeter or not higher or lower than the other one. So I guess they were saying that the daggers are notorious for not being cut low enough. And one of the easiest ways you can tell by looking is like, well, how do I know, without actually measuring it? Or if you see one you're looking at on a website and it's got pictures, the easiest way is to look where it's cut, right by this, where your ejector port hole is, right? You can kind of tell there's a gap there. And on some of them, and I complained about it on the Leo Precision, I think they went too low. Like if you look in there, they've almost went into that area. So there's positive and negatives to how far down they go. So we've got, there's a Shadow Systems. It looks like the, I guess maybe I'll just call it the norm, maybe to go just into it because this is Shadow Systems here, and this is a Zaffiri Precision, which they're cut very close. If anything, I'd say the Zaffiri is just a hair deeper, just a hair, but those two are very close. And then the Leo Precision is even further down than that. Now, in my opinion, that's not a good thing, and I'll explain it. And it may not matter either way. And then you can tell that it's definitely up a little higher, not by a lot. But the positive, I will say, for this kind of cut, because you also have to remember, if it's cut, a direct cut for an optic or the way Shadow Systems, or as I'll bring in the echelon and show you, it's hard to tell how far down they went. You can kind of tell by how much material they took off the top. But when you're direct mounting a red dot, in my opinion, you don't have to go super deep on the cut, because you're not dealing with any plates that's going to raise it up. Because there's a lot of, you know, pistols out there that you're just not going to be able to get that low. The MOS system on the Glocks, for example, or most of your 1911 style ones that have some kind of plate that you have to add on. So as long as you're getting the slide milled for a direct fit, in my opinion, the reason I like the idea of what they did here with the Dagger is the fact that where your extractor runs through, if you're cut for an RMR, that screw, the further down you cut out, it leaves a less amount of threads that screw will be able to you'll be able to use on almost every Glock style slide, other than Shadow Systems. They've moved everything up, and it's got a shortened. It's basically a very short little rod with a spring, and then you got a catch pin under there, to where if you actually want to take that stuff apart, you do have to remove the red dot, but it leaves you to put longer screws. So there I can see where they, you know, run that down as deep as they feel they need to. And then you don't have to have very tall sights to get a co-witness. One downside is you have to watch what kind of sights you get if you cut too deep like they did on this one. In my opinion, these are just what they call suppressor height. And it literally takes up, in my opinion, too much of the window, like they're distracting, or can be. So you would need, which these are a little bit shorter, but with them being a little shorter and that being a little bit up, they're almost even with this red dot comes with them like on it also. If you can make out the front side, it blends in so well. There we go. So it just lets you co-witness. Like these should be considered as, it's a last resort. Like the red dot goes out and you're just going to use the irons because you have to, and you can get the job done. In my opinion, that's still, you know, right here's the barrel, center of the barrel. You're pretty low on that slide. So I don't think, like if I see a slide that PSA makes for the Dagger, like this one, I don't see an issue with the fact that it is just a little bit taller on the cutout, because then I have a little more confidence that that screw on the RMR style is got that extra, you know, little bit of threads that you can go down, as opposed to, you know, even like this guy, I had to, you got to run a little bit shorter on the side where the extractor is, and especially on this guy. But if you definitely, you're like, oh, I want the lowest possible, so far, of a slide that's, you know, pre-made, pre-manufactured slide with the cut already on it, Leo Precision goes way down. And I've got two of them, and they're both pretty much the same. And then Zaffiri Precision. I haven't even really paid much attention to how low any others go, because I was thinking in my mind, like, you can go too low, and when you take away the ability to how well the red dot's going to stay on, like I would sacrifice a millimeter higher or so to give me more threads on the, you know, one of the only 2 screws that are holding the red dot on. To where, like the plate system, a lot of times they can go down, and the 2 screws holding the plate on are going inside of, not messing with the extractor, so they can be longer than the plate itself. However thick the plate is, the only downside there is that's both screws you use on the plate can only be so long. So I'll be honest, so far from what I've seen, even over the echelon, it can take a lot of different ones, but the shadow systems and the way they completely, they did away with the long extractor rod and spring way back here that you push in when you mess with this. If you guys don't know, it is all up in here, and so it lets this screw be pretty much as long as the other screw. You can put the same length and good long screws, and they go down pretty far. So yeah, I like the shadow system the best. I just have this guy out here just because if you can get one of these that's secure and then as thick as that is, although it's red dots riding up there, that is still not much. I've seen some crazy plates that go into where something's already milled, but then the plate comes up, and this is only a little bit higher than that. But I'll put it this way, I'd rather have this red dot like this, as long as I got to test this one, as long as it doesn't move the 0, over just iron sights any day, in my opinion. Because I was shooting, like I mentioned, I was shooting iron sights today. I'm not saying I'm bad with iron sights, but I ain't good. But I like red dots. But I just thought I'd get that out there, because I saw a few people like hesitant on, in my opinion, no, that's never even been a thought of like, oh well, if it's not down to a certain depth, I don't want to mess with it, because I'm almost positive that just a stock Glock with the MOS, by the time you add a plate, and then you're going to be higher than what the... And I don't know if that's something they're looking into. They think they need to go lower or not. I don't know. I think they all ought to take a little something from here, because this one, and I'm going to knock on wood if I can find... I can't find any wood, but knock on wood, I've still yet to have a malfunction with the shadow systems, and so that means that extractor shortened seemed to be fine. The only downside, which if you want to dismantle, you will have to take the red dot off to get the extractor out, to, like, if you want to completely, but that's something that really you don't, I'm not saying you don't have to do, but you don't really have to do it. Not very often. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Be looking forward to those videos with the actual GoPro at the range, and we got out there and shot some stuff. I probably won't talk about it. Yeah, I won't probably add GoPro footage talking about the comparisons, but out of the ones I shot, the Spectre comp had the comp was loose from the barrel. Like, I could set and wiggle the comp around, you know, and it's up in there into the dust cover, so it's not going to like fall off, but it was loose from the barrel. It's got 2 Allen set screws that hold it, and I told them that when I brought it back. I'm like, this needs like fixed. The trigger definitely, I'm going to probably go ahead and lighten a couple of my triggers up, because, man, that Spectre comp, I think I shot it almost the best. And it wasn't even really the fact that it was a bigger gun, the fact that it was probably the biggest compensated one of the bunch. But, man, that trigger was so light. And if you guys don't know, I shoot a little to the left. But the lighter the trigger, for me anyway, the more I do hold it on target better. So I may go through and rethink my, because I'm just going to the range. I'm not like packing heat. So for sure, any of these, if you're not, and if you're not going to carry a firearm, I still don't know how low you would want to go. I've meant to take, and I need to, next time I go up there, I need to take my pull gauge and see how light that Spectre Comp trigger is, because it feels good. It feels about like this guy, but maybe like as light as I had it before. So I may lighten that guy back up, the Ranger Proof with the Glock Performance trigger, and then I may go ahead, which one? Oh, I think I've got the Timney Alpha in this guy again. I may go ahead and try to get that dude a little lightened up. But yeah, the Spectre Comp was probably the best. If you guys don't know about the old Hudson H9 that is now the Daniel Defense H9, that thing's got a weird trigger. Trigger feels awesome once you get used to the, when you first put your finger on the trigger and bring the take up. I didn't really notice it once you start firing it, but that first initial, the trigger safety works completely different than any of them you've been used to if they've had the trigger safety on them. So it pushes in from the top. So your finger just instantly will be like, whoa, that's different. Like no other firearm that I know of has that. So that initial feel of that felt weird, but other than that, they all felt good, except none of them have any sort of, the Spectre Comp, maybe why I shot it the best and it felt the best. It does have a little bit of a, just on the takedown lever, you can kind of get your thumb on that, and that felt more natural to what I'm used to. All of these firearms I have some sort of ledge, not necessarily a gas pedal, thumb lever, but they've got a ledge or somewhere where you can get a little more extra grip on. The H9 didn't. The Staccato CS definitely felt, the grip felt pretty good, and it's just the older style. But the side was definitely smooth. Like I felt like I was just kind of sort of holding, I don't know. It definitely would need something, but I like that one. The CR920P, the trigger was the worst out of it. Like it definitely does not feel as good as any of the triggers I've got in any of these. Like it probably just needs cleaned, repolished, and maybe a little tweaking. But because I picked this one up from them up there too at Frontier Justice, and the trigger felt horrible. I really didn't change anything other than polished it up and did a little bit. It didn't take a lot to get it feeling nice again. That's one thing, I guess. I don't know if it's a downside to the Glocks or not. Like, the upside is you can run them pretty dirty and pretty dry, but that trigger does go to HELL. If you don't keep up on it, it can, I guess, to where it felt like, and I looked at that Staccato CS, dude, that thing was dry. As you'll see in an upcoming video, I think you'll, like, it did not look like it was lubed. It looked like it had been shot more than today, probably several days without being lubed or anything done to it, and it just was shooting fine, no issues. Like the Staccatos, I think, are legit. I've shot their XC a while back. It feels very good. Now the Daniel Defense H9 still looks pretty new and looked pretty clean, and that's just a very good. I was actually surprised how well I liked that gun. Will I get one? It's very doubtful, but I think it's within range. Price-wise, I can't remember exactly what they're going to come out for, but it does look nice overall. But I think it was the only one I was shooting that actually is a complete metal gun with some kind of different grips. The Staccato is even, it's got the modular or whatever, it's got a polymer grip on it, and it, I would say it was lighter than the Daniel Defense. So anyway, guys, hopefully you liked that video. Stay tuned. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, and I don't know, feel free to comment what your thoughts are on, the where and how deep a red dot should be milled down to. I do like also they give you these little spacers. A lot of guys got OCDs about if you put a red dot, which most of these that were cut for RMR. Like this dude right here, if you really look, it doesn't quite match at the front, doesn't quite match at the back. Now on the Echelon, you can really see the gap there and there. But it's designed to take so many different red dots that, I mean, could they make something so thin that would slap in there? I guess possibly. They could make little, kind of like they did with this, if you don't know how they do it on this one. They're just two little dimples that stick out. So once you put that in and then slide the red dot on, like, it's not going to fall out. So in theory, they could do the same thing on some of these others, front and rear, if they had needed to. Or for sure on the rear. But this one would need it on the front. You know, dimple them and just give you little, like, half millimeter, you know, different spacers for the people with OCD stuff. That, for me, that's like, it's not a big deal for me. I really want to get the what they call the 320, the one that's for the SIG P320s, the, oh shoot, SCS 320. I really want to get one of those for this. They look pretty good. But yeah, gotta go, guys. Thanks for watching. Get out, go buy some all day. Stay tuned for those range footage videos and those other different pistols. I'm going to get up there maybe this weekend. I think there's a gun show this weekend. I might go to it. And I'm going to try to get up there. I don't even have that one out here, but my 26 slide, I'm going to get up there and just shoot some rounds through it. And I'm kind of been going back and forth between this one and, whoa, this one on which barrel I want to leave the threaded barrel one in. I think this one may be going bye-bye, and I think I'm going to keep the threaded barrel in the Glock. Oh yeah, they do have the new Glock in up there at Frontier Justice. They are $759. So they have Glock 19X up there, just like this slide, not threaded barrel. Just standard Glock 19X they've been making for however many years now, and it's $649. So $649 and then $759 to add the MOS and a black threaded barrel. So $110 more, you get the MOS and a threaded barrel, and the heights are, or the sights are higher to where they would be able to coat witness, or should. So, I don't know, man. That's a lot of money just for what I still consider a stock Glock. Like, all Glocks, in my opinion, should come with cut for a red dot of some sort, or the MOS, or whatever. Should just be in. That's a chunk of money. So then you're still, which I don't like the true ergonomics of them, and they're a little slippery. Going to need stippled or something put on them. But yeah, I guess the step up in the right direction, maybe. See you guys later.